hope that you're seeing it was so well worth it. So well worth it.
Yes, it was.
So what we're going to do for everyone is we have these pens. Let me have one show. And they say the power of a team. Right? It's like a little lapel pin you stick it on whatever. So everyone is going to get a pen that says the power of a team. All right? And I want you guys to, when I saw this pen, I gave out one that said power of a team. When did I do that? San Diego. San Diego, I gave out a pen that said power of a team. This one is shaped a little different, and it has a different color and all that stuff. But I don't know if you guys have realized it or not, but we have like the best team in Empower Network. Yes. No question about it, right? And we have inspired other leaders to take action, haven't we?
Yes.
Have you guys seen other banners?
Yes.
Have you seen t-shirts?
Yes.
And attire?
Yes.
And whatever they got. And you know what? I celebrate that. Okay? It's not about we're the only one forever, but we're pioneers. And what that proves is that we can inspire people to do things that they otherwise would not have done. So celebrate the other teams, right? But be prideful of your own team. And, congratulate the other leaders, because I couldn't understand. We did this in Atlanta, right? And it was good. And then when we got to San Diego, we just knew the top leaders were going to have stuff together. And guess what? They didn't. In San Diego, the second event, we were still the only team, like, kicking it. They didn't catch on until Austin. They didn't catch on until Austin, right? And now it's getting sick, right? They're just out of control. They're selling t-shirts at their tables and all this. We got a website. We do our stuff a little bit more sneakily. Right? Now, we might pass out our jackets at the event, right? But you get all your Dream Team stuff on our knee, you guys. And who's on the knee? And you get all that stuff on the Dream Team side, right? So that's cool. So what I encourage you guys to do is wear this pen, and when you do wear it, I want you to think about your experience here in Chicago. Can we do that? Yeah.
What's up? I need the key from Phil.
Right,
you got the key?
No,
I accidentally
while they are passing out,
it's in the room. Yeah, no, that's right.
he can wear the pen on his fur, on his hat.
Do you need me to get something?
No, I get it.
He can wear it.
Oh, you gotta get something.
I gotta go in there.
Time
I
or
want to
something.
go.
He wears his pen every once.
Don't worry.
I mean, when Dave Wood is on the stage and he can see your furry hat, right, and shout you out about you're going to use your money to buy more furry hats, I think that's pretty cool. Did you hear me screaming for you when he said that? I did. I was like, go furry! Okay, so while we're getting ready for the next thing, let me do this. This wasn't planned, but we had a few people that were called on stage by Empower, actually, right? We had a few people, I think it was Tequila
Battle.
Apple. Was there anybody else on our team that was called on stage? We had people from other teams, but Tequila and Apple, right? Where's Tequila? Well, she's here, somewhere. Okay, she's not in here. Apple, come here for a sec. What did they call you on stage for?
Basically, a couple of weeks ago, they selected a number of people to submit their stories, and so they called me on stage with the intention to interview myself and Tequila as well. Our stories were chosen as being ones that were impactful to the community and just an example of the success that you can have with Empower Network.
So you shared that on stage?
Not yet.
Not yet, but you're going to.
We believe so.
Okay. Well, no, I just want to say congratulations to you and Tequila for that. Number one, the biggest thing with getting recognition is that when they ask you to do something, you got to submit. Right? I mean, so Apple and Tequila submitted. I don't know. I know Natalie submitted, and maybe some other people submitted. And congratulations, because to even be asked to submit, because I didn't know they were going to do that. I just saw Natalie on the Facebook group saying that she got an email from like Empower Network. And I'm like, really?
I didn't know if it was fake or if it was real. Right.
So congratulations for even being asked. But sometimes in life you will be asked to do something, and other times you just have to do something, right? And so the times that you're asked, and it's something that you believe is going to be helpful to you, take the time out of your busy schedule and get it done. Because Tequila and Apple submitted, 2 out of the 6 people were on our team. That's a third. About me, like, I don't speak or think in terms of like the number 6 or 7 or 10. I speak in terms of percentages, right? Because it doesn't matter about the number, it's about the percentage, about conversions, are percentage. So don't, if you've got 3 leads and 1 person signs up, you're signing up 33%, right? And you're not that far off from Vic when he's signing up 59%. Do you see? You're not far off, right? It's not like he's doing anything super magical. It's just that he's playing a numbers game. So once you know what your conversions are, just get more people in that way, right? So I want to just congratulate you as well as Tequila for a job well done with that.
How you like them apples?
One last thing about Apple. I'm in a sorority, right? And I won't go into all that stuff because I got opposing sororities up here and out there, right? But I love everybody. But Apple just became a member of my sorority, right? Of our sorority now. I can't pick on it anymore. So one of the beautiful things about Empower Network, and people ask like, how has it changed my life? I mean, there's so many different ways, but I knew Apple was going to be going over and crossing over into Delta Land, and I decided that I would get on a plane at the last minute, like a week before, and I flew all the way from Atlanta to Sacramento, right? And I'm like, oh my God, Brian lives in Sacramento. So I'm like, Brian, I need you to pick, because I can't call Apple as a surprise. So I'm like, who do I know in Sacramento? So I called Brian. Brian, can you get me from the airport? And then I got to hang with you for a while. You got to hang with me because I don't got nowhere to go. So Brian's like, all right, it's cool. So he comes, picks me up from the airport, and we go and we eat for a little bit. And if you guys haven't noticed, like, Brian doesn't speak that much. But he's always been like that. That's how Brian is. Unless it's on a hangout. Now on a hangout, and he just smiles like that. So me and Brian are in the car, and like, it's quiet, right? So Brian, right? And I'm trying to come up with stuff. Let's forget it, right? We just are the way we are. So anyway, he drops me off, and then we get to the part where Apple is doing what she's doing, and she didn't see me. I thought she did see me, and so she got to a part where she had to walk around, and then she didn't even see me until she walked right in front of me. Oh my God! Right? And that's something that Empower has allowed me to do. To be able to support my friend, my sister, fly across the country 4 hours, right? Get driven around by Brian, go eat. I had to hide out for a couple hours, by the stores to make sure Apple didn't see me. And to be there to capture that moment, I'll always have it in my head. Right? Call her husband, and we didn't know I was there. Nobody knew I was there, so I'm sure he was a little twisted for a second. Then they got it together. They let me sleep there, so it was cool. They didn't put me out, and we had a good time. And then that next evening, Apple and Brian and myself, we went to PF Chang's to have a bite to eat, and then I got back to the airport by Apple and flew 4 hours. It was all done in like 48 hours. Right? So that was fun, right? Because this was just last week. This was just last week, and we're like, okay, well, we'll see you next week in Chicago. So Empower has allowed me to be able to make decisions like that without money being a deterrent to doing things I want to do. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a tool that can let you do things that you want to do. So congratulations, Apple. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Everyone who made the leaderboard, period, for this contest. If you made the leaderboard, know in Empower Network, there's always a contest, right? There's always a contest.
He said get a shot all the way front, all the way back. He said to get a shot from the front all the way back. You probably can't get it right now.
Never if I'm in a shot.
No, he said get a shot from the front.
Yeah, I figured I'd be in a shot if I did that though.
I guess you don't care, but that's what he said. Yeah.
Alright, I'm down with that.
Yeah. So you might want to wait till.
He's over in the head to be okay.
All right.
Yeah!
So Kiwi asked me, what percentage of our team is this? And I really don't know exactly how many people are on our team because you guys know how our back offices look. You can't see everybody, right? You only see who you earn money from, right? And whatever level is direct, whether it's a pass-up or a power line, that's all you see. So you can't tell yet. I guess some NDA stuff I can't really talk about, but yet was the operative word. You heard Dave Sharp talk about how we've been on him about things we need, right? And I need to know who the hell is on the team. So I think Wood shares me that there's probably about 5,000 people on the team. So if I go off that, I think we had about 40 Stone. Where's Stone? Stone, stand up for a second, Stone. Okay, for those of you that don't know Stone Gonzalez, oh, I gotta tell a story about Stone. I'm telling you. Now, Everett, stand up, Everett. Now, Everett and Stone are spouses, yes? And I met them at an event officially. Well, when I was in another system, Everett, this was about
2.5 years
2.5
ago, over that.
Yeah, 2.5, almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I used to host this call called the prospecting call, where I would pull people out and I would do a dialogue with them to help them get better in their prospecting, right? Because that's what we were doing. Right now we don't prospect. But then we would do it, and that's how I met Everett, because Everett would be on that call every Thursday when I would do it, right? And over the weeks, he got better and better, and I could see his progress. He would jump on the call every week. Well, Stone and Everett came to an event that we did then, and I met them for the first time face-to-face then. Well, then some time went past, and of course, you know, people go their different ways, and then Everett found Empower Network, right? Yeah. And Stone, what was your reaction when Everett found Empower Network?
No, not again. Keep it real, keep it real.
I said, oh, no, not again. Not another $10,000 to get to the event. But I said, okay, this is what you want to do? Great. And then I started looking into Empower Network.
Wait, hold on. You're going too fast. All right.
I started looking into
Wait, hold on. So he was like, no, right? He was like, this is some BS, basically, right? And Everett kept coming. Everett kept plugging into our group, right? He was always there. He stuck with it. And then Austin was about to happen. And then that was Stone's, what? What happened? What was happening at that time in Austin, January? What's significance in January?
It was my birthday, actually.
That's right.
January 19th.
And how old did you turn there?
50.
50. So Everett goes, oh my God, we can't go because it's Stone's 50th birthday, right? And Everett's like, no, you're not going to Austin on my birthday. And so I said, well, if you can get, I said, let me speak to Stone. I said, I didn't talk to Stone, because if Stone would just come to Austin, maybe we could celebrate his 50th birthday in Austin. Right? So as it had it didn't work out that way, right? Everett and Stone didn't make it to Austin, right? Next thing I knew, Stone was posting on the Facebook group. And I said, well, something must have happened in New York. That's right, you gotta do what you gotta do, don't you? You got the cops. And then, not only was he posting in the Facebook group, Stone became engaged in what we were doing. Didn't he? You guys saw it. And without me asking him or anything like that, Stone started keeping track of the people on the leaderboard.
Thank you.
Right? And then his tracking got better and better. He started putting a scoreboard, like these pictures, and a scoreboard, and it was Dream Team. How many people on the Dream Team? It was the other team. He had, ain't nobody got time for that. And then he had the number of days left, right? And then he would list out the name as well as the rank that they had. Now, I've done this, right? I try to go through that thing and try to figure out who's on there. And it gets, overwhelming after you've got 300, 400, 500, 600 people on this leaderboard. Right? So for Stone to take time out of his day to do that without us even asking him, I thank you, Stone. And so before I get to these guys, I hope it's okay, Leadership Council, but I think Stone deserves to have a leaderboard.
No, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone here, and it was my pleasure to keep track for everyone. And every time that someone made it to that board, I was rooting for each and every one of you. Hopefully, I will see more and more and more of you up there. Like
You deserve it too, bro.
Like I
You
want,
deserve it too.
I
That's
will
right.
be up there with you guys. I will celebrate more and more and more.
About 45 or 50 people on the leaderboard, and that was the point of the story was 5,000 people Dave Wood said that we had, and this would represent about 1%, right? No, 5,000, 10%, 0.1. 10% would be 500 people, and 1% would be 50 people. Right, so 1%.
Hey, wait, we have one more. Leo, 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 Leo. Get over here.
So does everybody have their leaderboard sticker? Everybody have, okay. I just want to congratulate all of you guys because you represent, number one, you are people that represent action. Okay? With over 120,000 people inside of Empower Network, to even get on a leaderboard, you only need 25 points. Right? And 25 points is what? 5 sales or a couple sales and a ticket sale or something like that. I mean, it's not like immensely impossible to do it, right? And you guys have made it on that leaderboard, and we have Dream Team. Everybody should have Dream Team behind their name in their profile, right? Because that helps us identify who's on our team. We don't know who's on our team, okay? So that helps us identify. And literally, there was sometimes I would be calculate. I go back there and kind of calculate, and I would literally be in tears because Stone would say, "Oh, we went from 30, now we got 40." Right? I'm like, damn, we got 10 more people on the board. Right? So I appreciate you guys pushing. I appreciate you guys actually believing. And I know that everybody likes to see their name on a leaderboard. Right? See their name. Hopefully, as marketers, you took screenshots of it. Right? And you can prove, and your whole goal would be, oh, honey, it's okay. You're going to be on the leaderboard next time. She said, now, Daddy. And that you keep that screenshot and that because there's going to be another contest. You know that going in, right? Don't act like you don't know it's going to be a contest. There's a contest that's going to happen. And now your goal is to just beat yourself. Beat yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Like I said on that stage, mind your own business. In fact, Apple came to the hotel. She had these earrings on that were vertical. It said MYOB on it, and it stands for mind your own business. Right? So I congratulate you all. Thank you so much for helping and supporting and being the team that you're contributing to. And I look forward to seeing you guys higher and higher on that board. Like top 35.
Too dark.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
That's why you want
No.
I didn't even realize you had that.
That wasn't why, actually. I didn't. No.
All right. Oh, you didn't know? Okay, flip your arm, get a sticker. Congratulations.
Sorry.
That's fine. We want to recognize everybody. Okay, we're gonna have to kind of pick this up. So the next group would be the red lanyard people, right? Give a red lanyard, come to the front. And y'all can give some more love than that. Now where we're gonna need like a whole room just for the red lanyards. You guys all deserve to be here, right? That's most important. Red lanyard means you in the top 200 of the contest, right? Top 200 people, and so we've got some new people on the top 200 too, right? And that's exciting thing because in Empower, it's not just the same people all the time, is it? There's new people all the time breaking records, breaking barriers, and getting recognition and making things happen. So congratulations to you guys. And so what I did for the Red Lanyards, I know some of you could not attend because of the weather and things of that sort, but what I did was I wanted to take these guys to the Bulls game, right? There was a Bulls game, they played the Wizards on this past Wednesday. So I was gonna buy tickets for each and every one of them. And then, once I realized that I would have to piece together the seats, I said, that doesn't make any sense. So then I said, well, I wonder how much it would be to just get a suite, right? And I won't tell you how much it was, but it happened. We got a suite. So we got a club level suite. They had it decked out with food and champagne and wine and beer and just whatever. They had premium seats. They had the snack attack card with all the desserts and all this stuff. And I think it was an experience even for me that I'll never forget. Right? Now, for those of you that couldn't make it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you couldn't make it. We'll have to find something else. But the intention was for you to be there to share in that. So, you guys, awesome job to be red lanyards. And this is my theory. And they know this. Once a red lanyard, always a red lanyard. Or high. Right? That's the goal, right? Always work on beating yourself, right? So once a red lanyard, always a red lanyard or higher. So give these guys one more round of applause. Next time we're gonna have 100 people in red lanyards. And I really think we can actually have 10 people black lanyards. Alright. So we also have some black lanyards in here too. If you have a black lanyard, lanyard qualification, you had to earn what, at least? Oh, top 35? Is that what it was? So top 35 in the contest, right? All right, so top 35 people in the contest. So we added some people, right? We've got Tommy and Amy Rodriguez, right? I only expect Nicole to always be black lanyard. Sorry, you should always be black. But what I did, so what I did for them was I ordered some things that they can put on their mantle or whatever they have. And what it says is, Tony Rodriguez, Dream Team Black Lanyard, Get Money 2013. That's right. And to my sister. Nicole S. Cooper. Don't forget the S.
Yes.
Dream Team Black Lanyard, Get Money 2013. So you guys are awesome, right? And you know whatever you did to get here, you didn't die doing it. Right? You didn't die doing it. Which means that push a little bit more, right? You were top 35. What number were you? You were 25. What number were you, Nick? 19, something like that. So you can definitely be in top 10. You know what I'm saying? You can actually be in top 10. And I can be in top 10 too, because I think I was like, what, 13 or something like that? But you know, I'll be honest, for a while I wanted to.
Here you go.
You sure did. For, you know, when the contest first started, I was like, you know what, I want to win number one, right? I did for a little bit, but then I didn't. Like, I knew I didn't. I was saying I wanted to, but I really didn't, right? Because I wanted more people on the leaderboard, period. Right? And I was in an integrity breach because I was trying to be number one, but I really didn't care about being number one. I cared about how many more people we could get on the leaderboard. So then I said, forget it, I don't care what number I am, let's just keep increasing the number of Dream Team members on the leaderboard. So I dropped out of the top 10 down to 13, but you know, I don't care, that's cool. And so my goal is to help Nicole stay in top 10 always, right? And help Tommy and Amy stay in top 10 always. And for anybody else who wants to be in top 10, be in top 10 always. That fair? I love you guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations. All right. And the last group, real quick, we spent the whole time on awards. After this, we can just go home. Okay, and the last group would be the Leadership Council. If you're on the Leadership Council, step up for a second. We got some more people somewhere. All right, so here's the deal. Carlton. Okay, that's what I know. Well, the thing is, when I first joined the Empower Network, there was a big old team of one, just like you, right? It's no different. I didn't walk into the Empower Network with 5,000 people. I didn't. I signed up and it was just me. And then I got busy and started sharing the vision. And the majority of this group I personally sponsored. Adrian, Roger, Apple, Shalonda. I did personally sponsor Brian. I didn't personally sponsor Bowie. I personally sponsored Carlton, and I personally sponsored Nicole. And so what happened was Bowie's sponsor was on the Leadership Council, who I did personally sponsor. And then he wanted to do some other things, which is cool, but Bowie remained, right? Bowie stayed in, and his sponsor's still in the business. And Brian is the newest addition to the Leadership Council, right? Because he represents the young guns. With very few alterations, this is basically the original Leadership Council from October 2011, right? For the most part, minus or added a couple people. But when I was choosing the Leadership Council, here's something that I didn't worry about. I didn't worry about how much money you were making, right? Because at that time, none of us had really made anything. We just needed to get a structure together. Right? And my vision was that it was going to be big, because I needed people to help me. I don't have this ego issue where I need to do everything. And so I said, okay, let me see if I can gather a group of people who will be willing to do a couple things. 1, stay committed. 2, never give up. And 3, be flexible. right? Because things change. And so I began to reach out to this group and ask would they be interested in supporting us in that way, and each of them said yes. And from the time that they started, they've each been committed. They've each been flexible. What was the one I said? Never given up. They clearly haven't given up because they're here, right? And so I love these guys. These guys are literally like, they look out for everything in this team. When it comes down to being on the meeting or what information goes on the meeting, when it comes down to getting the Facebook group together for the event, when it comes down to information that's going to go out in terms of training and how things are going to be disseminated, or how we do processes and all the things that we do to kind of help keep this group as seamless and as energetic as possible, it's them. It's them that's doing it. And they have like full autonomy. You guys would be surprised. They don't really call me and ask me, can they do this or can they do that? Right? For the most part, they know that they have the authority to do, because I believe that they have integrity in what we're doing. If they feel that it's best that we do something a certain way, they can roll with it. Right? That's a trust that you have to have with your business partners. And so I completely love you guys. I would turn over everything that I had to you guys. We're just gonna roll because that's clear that's gonna keep happening. I would literally feel comfortable that if anything were to happen to me today, that this team would still thrive. This team would still thrive, and that would be my greatest gift. I've given them stuff before, like you guys got plaques and other stuff, but I wanted to give them something cool this time, so we got dog tags, right? And it says Dream Team Leadership Council on the front, and on the back it has their name on it. Right? And so, as we keep going and we add and people shift, because this group won't be the Leadership Council forever, right? When these guys get to $100,000 a month, they ain't gonna have time for that. Right? They're gonna have to move on. We're starting to raise other leaders up to kind of help keep our group going. And so we've got things like that to make sure that we can duplicate even without the original group. All right. So I appreciate you guys. I love you so much. And just keep doing what you're doing. Continue to work on your. Oh, and they're doing leadership council stuff in addition to their personal work. Right? And we don't pay them to do leadership council stuff. So thank you guys. I mean, I just can't say it enough. I appreciate you, the trainings that you do, the time that you give. They host the calls, the midday calls. Literally every last one of them, I can say that I've seen them all grow over the past year and a half just from the midday calls. Just from the midday, because I remember the first time Carlton had to do a midday call. Carlton's almost like Brian. He don't talk that. He talks more than Brian, but still like not a lot. And so if you guys know, if you get on the midday call at 12:15 on Carlton's day, it's over. If you get on the call when the poll is going, you can get on 2 hours late and you're still going. So you guys are awesome. Keep growing. Thank you for everything you're doing, and I love you.
Keep smiling.
Let's get the party started. We got all the awards out of the way. Adrian scared me for a second. On our time, he's keeping track of what we're doing. All right. Second thing. Oh, we might need to push that to somewhere else. All right. So we'll go to the third thing. Third thing. All right. Young Guns. Come up here, Brian. Young Guns, time out for a second. Be flexible. Wasn't that key? All right.
I just wanted to acknowledge some of my team members, because as you guys know, when you have leadership in place that lead by example, what do? You follow, you duplicate. So one of the things that initially when we first got started, Tracy and I was talking about the whole team building process, having a leadership council and everything, and that we would try to set things in place to show people how to grow teams. Because at the end of the day, building a business is investing in people. You build the people and they'll build the business, right?
Yes.
So while I was following Tracy's lead, and when we first got started, I had a baby, right? And my team was growing fast and I couldn't control it. And I was able to just duplicate her lead and build a leadership council as well.
So I want to acknowledge them because, guys, you have no idea how much time people invest behind the scenes to make your life easier. So that's why when you try to come and create, or if there's any drama that comes, Stone will throw you out. Okay. Right? Stone don't play. He protects the nest. Because people really are. A lot of the leaders that you see here, they devote as much of a part-time job hours to really make things work. So I want to acknowledge a few people. Let me just grab my list real quick. Is it behind me? So, on top of my dome. Okay. So I want to bring, where are the AIG leaders? The Automated Income Group leaders, where you at? Stand up and come on up. Is she not in here? Oh, yeah, this is it, thanks. Okay, so as you guys can see, Steve and Cheryl is coming. There's actually 3 people missing from here. But what I basically did was the same thing that Tracy did. You know, when you have a team training center, you have a Facebook group. Oh, you trying to do somebody pictures? Y'all know I try to do pictures too, so I be sitting there like, oh, this is a Kodak moment. So we got the camera crew. Next deal, we need a photographer. So I basically duplicated what Tracy did, kind of looked at the positions and things that were being held. And there's a series of things that we are doing, a lot of ideas that we have that we're expanding, and so you kind of pull on the talent that you have, and they invest in the team. And one of the things that we do is we do team trainings. We do a series of things. And so I just want to acknowledge them and just kind of share a little bit about who they are. We actually have Chris Harrell. I have a real funny story about Chris, but I'll make it quick. Chris is, if you guys are familiar with the personalities, you guys know the red, green, blue, yellow. Yeah. Chris is a red to the 10th power. He reminds us of our good friend Cedric Harris, but he came in like, let's get down to business. And he was in an isolated, kind of an isolated mindset. So it wasn't necessarily cohesive with the team. And everybody wanted to throw him over the boat. And really, we were getting emails about somebody need to check him. He need to go. We got to check him out. Because it was a lot of, you know, sometimes you're typing things and they may be taken the wrong way, and then it's attack. So I basically pulled on him a little bit and said, hey, Chris, we need to talk, because at this point, a lot of people are being offended. And I didn't know how he would take it, but he was like, Nicole, thank you for showing me, because I want to do better, and I'll apologize to everybody. And that is huge. That is huge. He came to Austin and everybody loved him. They were like, oh my God, he's cool. I love Chris. And so we actually asked him to be a part of the team because he is a team player. He just didn't know us on the internet, and that's why live events are so important, because people might take your personality the wrong way when you really have great intentions. Okay, so Chris is amazing. Now, Becky. Becky goes above and beyond. She has the servant's personality. If anything needs to be done, I will do it. And you know, we think about having all these assistants and outsourcing and stuff like that. Well, having team players that have different strengths make it easy for us to not have to go outside to make things happen. Becky has worn many hats. All I can say is, if you usually are in the Automated Income Group, in our group, and you have an issue, Becky will be the first one to respond, and she's doing whatever she can to make it happen. And so, Becky, we love you. We really appreciate you. Adam actually he came in through Natalie Goucher. He is sponsored by Natalie. He showed up in Austin. We met for the first time. But guys, we talk about taking action. This is a guy that came in and started making stuff happen. And we were that's the thing, like, a lot of you want to be noticed. Just do some stuff to make us call you. Because that's what I was like, who is this dude? Because he was all over the place. He popped in like 5-6 people every day. Welcome to such an automated group. Welcome to such an automated. I'm like, jeez, I need to know your name. And so he's come in. He's been an amazing teacher and trainer to our team. He's brought so much just joy and excitement. He's an amazing guy, and he was on stage today. He has a great, consistent, loyal team here, so Adam is awesome. Lakeisha's also a part of Natalie Goucher. Now y'all see why Natalie made $10,000, $11,000 last month? Because Renee is on her team too, but Lakeisha is coming in. She's been an amazing, just guys, when you have talent, that's the thing, contribute your talents. She's been a gift to the organization. She came in pretty recent and just stepped up and said, whatever you need to do, I'll do it. So we love you, we appreciate you. She runs our training center, so that's awesome. And Natalie. You know, Natalie came in, she came in with the, I ain't really got time for that. I have a business that I want to do. Well, not in a negative way, but she had so much going on that she didn't have a lot of time to devote. She was concerned about not having time. But she came in bringing so much to the team, not realizing that the little bit of time she invested was so much that people were learning from her. And what happened was, she was taking the business not so seriously when we first got started until we got to San Diego. She didn't even have a jersey. In San Diego, everybody had jerseys with how much they earned on the back. And so she was walking around, I just saw her looking, she didn't have a jersey on, and she came to me, she was like, Nicole, come here. She was like, I realized I have more than most people on the back of their jerseys on here, and I'm not really doing anything. She said, so if I put a little bit more effort into this, where can I go with it? Well, from 3,000 in January to 11,000. 325. Yes, she knows the amount. And you know, honestly, all she does is engage her personality on Facebook and videos and blogging. And that's, yeah, but she's also a great trainer. She's come in and helped the team a lot. She realizes she does have the time, and now she's letting go of clients that she had in her previous business to devote full time to EN. So let's give her a hand. It's something to be said when you see people who are very successful, because Natalie was one of those as well, very successful in their industry, that take a peek at Empower Network. Both Natalie and Pam Lawhorn, I have been following her and stalking her for a long time, because if you go and look at her websites and the stuff that she does, you're like, damn, who is this girl? I need to get to know her. And I was stalking her one day. She reached out to me and was like, Nicole, I saw something you put, and we talked, and she joined. She's almost all in. She said they'll be coming all in really soon, but Pam has a lot of talent in the tech space, and she came in just ready to help make the team happen. She's a programmer, she can do all kind of stuff. But she came in just with open arms, so I want to acknowledge her. She was on the top 200. She's only been in a month and a half, if that, maybe a month. Steve and Shelley, they represent couples. They represent couples. Cheryl reached out to me a while ago, and Cheryl was one of those people that she knew she was looking for something. She was going to do whatever she needed to do to get there, but she still wasn't sure if this was what she needed until she came to an event. And she brought her whole family. That was San Diego. She brought her husband. Where's the kids? The two kids in the back. Okay, Josiah's in the back. And her kids, the way they engaged in the event, talking to Dave Wood, Dave Sharp, I mean, just a power couple. Steve saw the vision in San Diego, came in hungry. They have just been a phenomenal couple. They come in and bring in the energy for married couples, because actually was it Austin? They realized where their roles were. Because in the beginning, it was a little bit of concern about, I don't want to interrupt my wife's thing. And then when he got to Austin, we talked afterwards, and I told Cheryl, let him do his thing. It's okay if he's a little bit more skilled in certain areas, which he is very technical savvy. And she discovered her role, he discovered his, and they've come in and brought a lot to the table as a power couple, and they're on fire. I mean, they're all making my life easier, because guys, when there's growth, you have to prepare and position yourself where you can handle it. A lot of people don't want to grow a big team because you're worried about what am I going to do, and that's why Tracy and I was talking about teaching you guys how to lead. You follow the leader. You follow the leader, you get results. You start putting yourself in position where you can work your way up to the front of the room to know what people are doing, and then you learn how to build your organization. And honestly, you don't have to in this group because we handle everything for you. But I knew for a fact that I wanted to have a large organization and a team, and so I just followed my leader. And here goes the amazing Automated Income Group Leadership Council. So guys, I love you and thank you so much. Okay, I got two more things that I want to do. Love you guys. He said, thanks, Oprah. I'll take that. I'm in Chicago. Go, Oprah, Oprah. Okay, all right. So I also want to acknowledge just the top 200 that we had because Tracy set a precedence at the last event. And so I'm following my leader. Yeah. And I want to acknowledge we have 4 people hit the top 200 in the automated income group. They just went to sit down. You need to bust a U-turn and come on up here. Natalie Goucher. Adam Ward. Lanika Scott, are you in here? Shut up, here we go. Okay. It's 4 of them that actually, oh, here she comes. Based on what happened last event, how many of you were in Austin? Yeah. Do you guys remember what Tracy gave her top 200 people? How much did she give them? So. Each. So.
And there was 15 of them. And Nicole got 3 times that.
As she's saying, Tracy gave 15 people $500 in Austin. And she gave me $1,500, so you do the math.
She was a black lanyard.
Because I was a black lanyard. And so she did that, and I really wanted to be able to do the same thing. And so I'm going to do that on today. I'm very, very proud of these 4 people up here.
I couldn't get in.
I can't get out.
Well, it goes to show that people acknowledge your commitment and your consistency. And I feel like when you put yourself in a position where you devote whatever you have to accomplish a certain goal, and you put yourself where you can be recognized for that goal, you deserve to get a few perks and bonuses. So all of you will be getting checks of $500. Covered this weekend. So, and one last thing, I just wanted to, Natalie Goucher actually went over 10K, and I wanted to acknowledge, I said I'll start something called the Over 10K Awards. Sorry, Tracy. But we're going to start creating some stuff because people are growing and progressing, and people are making a lot of effort. And so I actually did order some stuff, and it didn't quite work out. So you guys will be getting it later. But you will be getting an over 10K per month award. Natalie Goucher, I'm so proud of you. You got it? Oh, it's good. So that's what I wanted to share, and I want to encourage all of you guys. I don't know if y'all gonna keep getting $500. But if you missed that Bulls game,
Oh, man.
trust me, you guys will want, because our goal now is to start setting a higher precedence of lifestyle experiences at every event. That's all I'm going to say. So make sure that you guys are on the leaderboards at the top, at least the top 200 red or black player at the next event. All right? Hand me back over to us.
What we were going to do next was the team picture. Clearly, it's not going to be in here. It needs to be out there. But we're not going to do it now because it doesn't make sense to uproot everybody and take 40 minutes to do that to get back and miss everything, okay? So what I'm going to ask is that we're going to continue to move through this, but I don't want to lose you because we're going to do the picture when we're done. You guys with me? So if you want to be in the team picture, I'm going to encourage you to kind of stick around because we will get that done, but it doesn't make sense to do it now. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. So the next thing we want to do is we want to get to the young guns, and so just so you guys know, the young guns are our team members that are between the ages of 18 and 25. When we were in Austin, we brought up a group of young guns that we lined them up, right? We lined them all up. We went through each one of them, and they gave a testimonial. That's when I started. We're going to teach everybody a testimonial, right? Because we're going through the young guns. We went one by one with each of them, and we learned a lot about our young people. We learned a lot about ourselves, and I realigned with my purpose in reference to how I want to impact young people in terms of business, right? I understand business. I don't understand everything, but I understand business. And I want to be able to help our young people make some decisions in that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Brian Kane up, and he's going to kind of lead this Young Gun section this time, okay? All right.
First of all, I just want to say, just congratulations to everyone that made it out here, made it to the event. This is really big. Live events are so important because this is one of those times where you have to realize that we grow by association. Can you all hear me? Am I talking the microphone? No, it's fine. Okay. And so what you guys need to realize is that by association, you have to realize that there's some things that you may or may not know. If you could imagine yourself, if you drew yourself on a piece of paper and you drew a box, like you put yourself in a box, and you drew yourself right in the middle of a piece of paper, that box represents everything you guys know. It represents everything you guys know. Everything outside the box represents everything you do not know. And so in my personal opinion and kind of the experiences that I've went through, the only way that you can ever grow your box and expand your box is by coming into direct contact with some reference, whether it be audios, books, or some person who has a bigger box than you do, a bigger frame of mind. That's the only way that you can ever expand your box. So what I want to do over the course of the next few minutes is actually pull up just a few. Yeah. I want to have all of the young guns in this group right now. Everyone who's 18 and 25, go ahead and take this time to come up to the front of the room right now.
It's way more than I thought.
Right. I can never talk into a mic. But what I want to do is I actually want to recognize 4 specific people before I actually share the importance of this. Before I actually share the importance of this group. Because actually, no, let's flip that around. One of the reasons why this group is so important is because for many of us up here, we do have powerful backgrounds. We do have experiences that we went through, but most of it's not so corporate. Where we may not have background where we finished school. We may not have the backgrounds where we've made more than, like for myself, more than $14 an hour. And so we're coming into this game where we have to actually utilize the experiences that we've had up until this point and be able to actually transition that into what we're doing now. So what I want to do is I want to recognize Tommy first. Tommy is someone who is just like, he's just come out the gates. He's brought us all away, made it into the top 35. So what I want to have him do is actually tell his story, tell a little bit about his background and why the Empower Network has helped him actually transition and make that transformation in his life.
You know, I could talk for days, so
Let's actually do this.
Well, first, before Tommy even starts, let me just say, Tommy was in Empower Network, and he had attended, 2 or 3 events?
This is my 3rd.
He attended 2 events, not knowing he was on the Dream Team. I sat next to him one him and his wife and his baby and all this stuff, and no one knew that we were connected. And some kind of way, I don't know if it was Carlton or somebody, we call Carlton 007. If there's anything that needs to be known, Carlton will figure it out. And some kind of way, I don't know if it's Adrian or Carlton, but discovered that Tommy was sponsored by a guy I sponsored who didn't follow the system. Right? So because Tommy never got plugged in, he didn't know we were his family. And he was doing well. And then we figured out he was on our team, and then boom, that's it.
Pretty much just like what Tracy said. I got started. The next day, my daughter was actually born. So I was, preoccupied even getting started. But I got started. I got in at the $100 level just real quick, and I took out a personal loan to get all the products. That's what I did. I didn't have a lot. I didn't have a lot of money. I just knew that from seeing everybody's testimonials that I had to do it. I mean, there was just no ifs, ands, or buts. I would feel left out if I didn't get all the products. And prior to coming in Empower, I was online for about, 3 months, 3.5 months, free CPA offer, and I struggled. I didn't have a lot of experience. I had prospecting all the time, and I was on the phone 24/7 just trying to make a quick $20. It wasn't worth my time. But I still try to make things work. Eventually I kept hearing about the Empower Network. There we go again. But I kept hearing about the Empower. I kept seeing testimonials jumping up and down on Facebook, on everybody's wall, YouTube channel, and I was just like, what is this thing all about? It's just, I decided to give it a run, and I got started with with just a little bit of experience, and I got plugged into the products. Especially once I got all in, and had a debate with my wife over there about actually getting to San Diego. She was like, no, you can't go. I just had a baby 2 months ago. So she didn't want me to go, but from everybody else that I was associated with, they were like, man, you gotta go. You gotta go. Just up and leave, just go, don't tell her. She's like, I give her some heads up, you gotta go. She might take off, I don't know. So that's just what I had to do. And after that first event, I mean, there was something that I realized that was going on. It was just the power of the people. And again, I didn't even know I was part of the Dream Team then. I came, I don't even think I brought any of my team there. I don't think anybody on my team went. But by us, and many people went, and even more are coming now. And they're starting to see the power of this. And Empower Network really has changed our life financially for the better. I mean, if you guys are even here, trust me, you guys can all do it. I mean, I came from a background of just warehouse, working on cars. I even thought about stripping at one point. So, I mean, that's just where I came from. I came from many backgrounds, working in the 9 to 5, slaving away, always thinking that this next job is going to be for me. Like this next job, oh my God, I'd come home and tell my wife, oh my, I love this job. I think they like me. I think I'm going to go far with this company. And then I get laid off in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I've had more jobs than birthdays. So, you can imagine the stress that it actually put on my wife, because my wife, I mean, she was just getting frustrated because, like I said, I've had a lot of jobs, and it's frustrating coming home or getting a call saying, hey, we can't have you. We're slowing down and we got to let you go. And thinking that it was secure, it just I thought it was for me. So I've been plugged into online for a little over a year now. I got to tell you, this is the best damn thing I've ever done. You look at everybody else here, who else was a top leader, Tracy, Nicole. I'm gonna wrap it up. You don't talk for days. But I mean, you just look at these other people and you don't think that you can do it. I mean, you think, oh, getting to $10,000 a month is hard. But trust me, once you get to that, you want more, and it gets easier. Trust me. I believe in every single one of you guys that's in this room, and just a little bit about my background. I mean, I could go on, but I know time's precious. So that's
Really quick, Tommy, how old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
25. Halfway to 50.
The next person I want to bring up is someone who I met for the first time at the Austin event, and someone who had just got started. What was it, about? I think it was about a week before, maybe a week and a half before, and he was able to get. He had, I think, about the second or third most people at the event. Now this time, if you were looking at the people going to the event, all you saw were people on this guy's team. And this guy happens to be a young gun. This is someone who I look up to and respect, and this is someone who recently just got all in, and he was able to turn that over and make an all-in sale. So the next person that I actually want to bring up is my friend, my business partner, Paul Gardner.
This is just crazy. Hi, if any of y'all know, my name is Paul Gardner, and I'm a little, I didn't realize I was this nervous. But I do remember, though, that I was sitting on the chair looking at everyone else speaking 90 days ago. And, prior to Empower Network, I was actually a struggling salesman in a cell phone company. In addition to that, I was a failing mixed martial arts fighter. Who likes UFC? Raise your hand. Well, I was not one to watch in the cage because I lost 3 fights in a row. And because I lost those fights and I was losing in life, and I realized what really brought me to that failing point in my life was work, stress, bills, not being in an environment where I'm around where I truly love, like Dream Team, right? Yeah. And since I found Empower Network, it literally, transformed me so much to the point where I know a lot of y'all have, people out there outside of this force, everything, people think it's a scam, whatever. And actually, I want to recognize my mom over there. You guys don't have your family and your business, you're doing something wrong. Because she was one who was extremely skeptical but watched me. And then she saw me just change completely. I'm not the same person anymore. And not only did she see me change, she had 2 beers and got all in. That much. I love people so much. And I just want to let y'all know that every single person sitting down here, this is not a 2 to 5 year plan. Y'all can do this in 2 to 5 months. Make a decision. I'm not sitting here trying to sell you because the value is so good it sells itself. So, and everybody here has inspired me just to the T. Brian Kane, I want to recognize him. He was somebody that worked with me personally. And although I am 25, I'm about to get out of the Young Gun group next year. He was somebody who, although 21, provides so much wisdom because of all the knowledge and experience and the personal development he does daily that I could not help but to respect somebody who was younger than me. Y'all are gonna do it. 2013 is the year of enlightenment, I swear. You're gonna get it.
Real quick, Brian, real quick. So Paul is following suit, right? Everybody has teams that are in teams, right? So Paul's team is called what?
Empower State of Mind.
Empower State of Mind. Turn around for a second. And that logo, Apple designed his logo. We have so much talent just within our family that if you need something or want something, look to your family first, right, with anything. And so just support each other. So that's all I want to say. Wow.
The next person I'm looking at, he recently just turned 21, so this is someone who is now legal to drink, so now he can drink more beer. This is someone who has come out of, again, just nowhere. This is someone who has just been bringing people to the event. This is someone who's been putting just numbers up on the leader, like top 200 on the leaderboard. This is someone who's just making things happen. So the person I want to bring up is Anthony.
Yo. Okay, I'll try not to cry. Okay. Prior to Empower Network. Okay. I was a struggling, upset network marketer. I've been building network marketing since I was 18 years old. And Josh, that's my boy. Yo, you can't be the back? People in the back. So prior to Empower Network, I was actually building network marketing since I was 18 years old, and struggling, doing home meetings, three-way calls, all these parties, and the reality is there's actually no money in that. After you build it all this time, it's anybody recording, there's actually no money. But I don't know. But so while I was building it at 18 years old, I graduated. I was going to college, and I actually have this shirt on purpose that says graduate, because I actually dropped out of college. So I actually got to look in the mirror and say, I graduated. You know what I'm saying? My own, to an entrepreneurial mindset. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because, school sucks. School sucks ass and period. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna get yelled at by Tracy. So, I actually was looking at Empower Network since April of last year, and it was crazy because I was scared to sign up. I had a sponsor who was kind of like, like if you would join something else, he would get upset at you and you actually talk shit. And, I'm sorry, this kid's here, but he would say things. He would say things to you since you joined if you joined another company. So I was scared to join. I didn't want to do it. And the way I found it, pick that up, man. So far.
You gotta speed it up.
Oh, snap. Okay. So in April, when I saw it for the first time, to be honest, all jokes aside, when I saw it for the first time, I was scared to sign up. And so I refound it in November, because in November, oh man, this is crazy. Okay, in November, I recruited like 15 people in a month, right? And not power. Don't get excited. And in a network marketing company, I only came out with $15. And I was looking at my team, and I was looking at these guys. I was looking at these guys, and I was like, man, we're gonna get rich, bro. I was like, trust me, we're gonna get rich. Even with the $15, I was looking at my team. I was like, man, he was there. That kid right there was there with the glasses, dude. I was telling him, man, you made me cry, bro. Come on. I was like, trust me, man. We're gonna get rich. I promise you. Knowing that this guy is not gonna make it. But I would tell him, trust me, man, we're gonna do this. Because I just, for some strange reason, by mistake, I probably trip and fall and get rich. I don't know, for some reason, but I knew he wasn't gonna do it. So I was like, you know what, the whole December took off. And then January came, I was like, you know what, I gotta get to this Empower Network event. A week before the event, I borrowed $500, and I came out here. I didn't even know I was on the dream team. Dr. Mama, shout out to you. She found me with a whole bunch of bags, and I was like, man, I don't know why I'm here. My life sucks. And sorry for taking long, I swear. My story's good. So in January, I only had one person with him. I wanted to make sure that he was the first guy I brought in, so he can trust me, you know what I'm saying? So after 3 months, built a team close to a little bit over probably 40 people, I'm not sure, like close to 40 people. To be honest, it's a blessing because, I can honestly look at this guy in his face. I can look at my team. I brought like 4 people here. I could look at them and honestly say we're going to get rich. And to be honest, if you don't believe you're going to get rich by seeing all these people up here, all the young guys, I'll tell you in your face. I'll look at you now because I'm not lying anymore. I'm not lying anymore.
Hey, Cole.
and so everyone can have a seat. And look like.
All right. Oh.
Ooh. Keep going.
Adjust.
Do your thing. No, do your thing.
Like, I still get nervous. Like, that's my boy, but I'm like, oh, thank you. Okay. Young Guns, we love you. This is our group 1825. 18 to 25. Yeah! You're Black Lanyard, you're a Young Gun.
You have it. That's what.
All right, guys, go ahead, take your seats. We love you. We appreciate you. Keep going. Don't ever stop. We need you.
After 12
That's how you do it, Carl.
Alright. So the man has arrived, right?
Alright, it looks like you
So
might be here.
I want everybody to just, if you can, rise to your feet and please give our co-founder, Mr. David.
Second door. Not the first and the second one.
I came in here.
Hey, Alan, could you repeat that? You got stepped down.
Meeting, you know, when I came into the dream team, I mean, I was hyped. I was ranting and raving, but you know what? Exactly what I said was going to happen happened. Right? We were able to get this. All of the people we got on stage was just unbelievable, right? I mean, on Friday night when we did that commission countdown, they were telling us we had to get people off because we were going to break it down. And so the vision is becoming a reality, right? And it's just growing and growing and growing. I really don't have anything to say at this point to you guys besides now it's about you, right? Now it is about you. Now it's about getting back in and finding new leaders, right? Because Tracy's goal, Nicole's goal, now is to help you go and build your team, right? To go and build your following. And that's exactly how this thing works. I mean, Dave and I, when we started, and I want you to think about this for a second. Lawrence Tam was my very first sponsor online, okay? Very first sponsor online. Now, I wanted him to be my sponsor because he was a family man. Now, this was only 3 years ago, right? I got out of a company because the company shut down because the company owners broke a fingernail, right? They decided to close the doors, right? And I was tired of a bunch of wussy company owners. So, I got with him because I wanted to get my family back. Is really what I wanted. I didn't have my daughter then, right? So I
join Lawrence. I think Lawrence gave me to like one of his teammates. He was like, over here, over here. You know? And you know what? Back then I was hungry, so it didn't matter, right? And I didn't call Lawrence all the time. I didn't call Lawrence and say, Lawrence, I need you to help me. I need you to show me the way. I need you to do this. I just went to work, right? I just went to work. And lo and behold, 3 years later, not only have a team of 120,000 people and making multiple 6 figures a year, but got my family back. So I want you to realize what can happen inside of your team. I want you to realize what can happen by just being around the right people, right? I mean, honestly, nobody is better than anybody else in this room. I am just like you. I put my pants on and probably when I put them on, it looks worse than when you put yours on. I mean, sometimes my room just looks like a disaster. Things are laying everywhere. Aaron's just going and picking stuff.
I saw that room when we were there for the leaders meeting.
I'm trying to tell you, it's not pretty. But guys, the vision and what I really want you to wrap your head around is that anything is possible. Right? Anything is possible. If Lawrence would have thought back then that this guy who called him and said, I want to join this deal, would have then went on to start a company with another guy that Dave was, Lawrence was 2 levels down from Dave in that company. Right? Would have went and started a company with his sponsor, and then he would be making $100,000 a month in. I'm going to tell you something. Lawrence Tam would have said, you are out of your mind. Right? Because he didn't even think $12,000 a month was possible. So what I want you to do is stretch here a little bit. That's all I want to tell you right now, is stretch. Whatever you think is possible, I want you to stretch that and realize that that's just the surface.
Somebody to come down and read me.
And these people can pull more out of you than what you even think that you can do. It's about getting around the right people. And if you look around, this looks like the right people to me. What do you think? Let's go out there. Let's fight against the evil. Look, every single day somebody's going to try to steal your dream, try to tell you what you can and can't do. But I'm going to tell you something. You know in here what you need to do. Not up here, but in here what you need to do. So let's do it.
I said, oh my God, I gotta put you on the timer.
And I obeyed.
You did. I'm surprised.
There's a white table. White tablecloth.
That's why I speak before Dave.
So, and keep it with family. Dave doesn't know this, but I'm gonna read this letter. This says, Dear Tracy, my name is Tatiana Johnson, fiance of Vernon Ford Jr., who's on the leaderboard for the last contest. I am the 7-month-old pregnant woman on the Dream Team, and we spoke a few times before. Tommy Rodriguez is my sponsor. Tatiana, stand up. Oh, shut up. My fiance and I went through trials and tribulations being from Boston and coming here, spending our last dime. We have 3 boys that are 9, 6, and 8, and 1 on the way. We left my son's birthday on the 19th, and we've never missed one of our kids' birthdays. He loves what Empower is doing for us and said he won't be sad if he can get his #1 present to bring back to him. The #1 present is a birthday shout out from Dave and Dave. Games or money, just that. I spoke to a few people who said you can make this happen. I was in tears to leave our family during this crisis in Boston, and my youngest, who is 6, his birthday. But with Empower, soon we won't have to miss any more birthdays. Thanks. So Dave.
All right, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, John.
Happy birthday, dear Tay John. Happy Dream team, dream team, dream team.
We just all leave the
My birthday So you guys see, you know, we keep saying when it powers, there's
All right, brother. All right, let you take care, bro. All right.
Right? And you just never know. This birthday present, this guy, there's some between 12, 13, 18, 25, 30, 40. And for all we know, this one little wave of a butterfly wing changed the whole course of his life. All right, so next what we want to do is we want to, you know, we always recognize the young people in the group, but we've got some wisdom people in this group too. So we were trying, my dad, you know, we kept saying the young guns, and my dad was trying to come up with a name that would be good for that age group. And we played around with some ideas, and I ran some things by the Leadership Council. And what we finally decided on would be the Wisdom Keepers. So what I want to do is I want to recognize the Wisdom Keepers. I'm going to ask you guys to do something, but if it's inconvenient for you, don't worry about it. You've noticed that most people come up here and they stand the whole time. You don't have to do that. But I would like to ask all of our Wisdom Keepers, did we come up with an age group? The age, we don't even know 55? Yeah. 55 and older, Wisdom Keepers. If you guys could come to the front, please.
We see you, Pat. Yeah, that's Pat.
Now, amazingly enough,
we see you, Pat.
Simmer. Amazingly enough, we have just about the number of Wisdom Keepers this time that we had of Young Guns last time. So that means in Denver, we're going to have twice this amount. So I wanted to recognize you guys so that everyone can get photos and we can get you on camera and things of that sort, because we understand that we're all living in a technological age, right? And there may be some things that we're doing in the world now that are unfamiliar to you and the skill sets that you bring to the table. Nonetheless, I respect and honor each of you because age ain't nothing but a number. And dreams, you're still here. We're all still here for a reason. That's right. Right? Correct. And if I'm ever blessed to be 55 and older, I would love to be part of you guys, because you're in a place right now where you still have something that you need to accomplish on this planet. That's right. And I'm glad that you have found our group, the Dream Team, to partner with, and we want to do everything that we can to help you achieve your dreams, whatever they are, just as much as we want to help the Young Guns, and just as much as we want to help everybody in between. So I love you, I salute you, and if you need to take a seat right now, you can. Wait a minute. Before you guys say that, you do realize that out of respect, there are people that can't stand long periods of time.
Correct. Yeah.
My father is 70 years old.
Really? I'm sorry.
I'm saying that, you know, we were getting ready to walk over to the event this morning, right? And my dad wanted to catch the shuttle.
That's
right.
right.
And I'm saying, Dad, we don't have time to catch the shuttle. We got to get over. So he's like, all right. So we start walking, and we're moving so fast that I didn't even recognize that I left my dad. Right? And so we get there, we get to the theater, and I stood right there at the front. We all did, because I wanted to wait for my dad to come through the door. And it reminded me that we just don't move as fast as we used to move. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just we don't. Right? And if we're all blessed to be 70, you probably would be moving a little slower too.
Right.
So I just want to give that respect. If they want to stand, I want them to stand. But if you want to sit down, I don't want you to feel pressed to stand up.
I'll see you on the dance floor, girl.
No parking, baby. No parking.
Who is the oldest member of this group?
Let me just say a word of wisdom and thanksgiving. I have a son back there who tried to get me in this, and I'm ashamed that I've been in this since last August. I blog hymns. The first hymn I blogged was, see if the old memory can tell it. Rejoice, the Lord is King. We need to recognize the wonderful grace of our Heavenly Father. Let the Lord Jesus be the King of your heart. You know, my wife, I told her over the phone, hey darling, I'm going to be all in this thing. I have a pact with my wife that I tell her everything I'm going to do, but I don't do that. On this deal, I felt I better do it. Now, my son, he's sitting over there trying to get a picture of me, and I praise the Lord for Garth.
What's going for? Golf!
I was asked to come out to Trenton, Missouri, just to do a 4 to 6 month assignment for ConAgra as an engineer. And I said, yes.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I say, what would happen if we said no? We came out there, and 4 to 6 months, we had a big powwow. The second day I was there, and the leader of ConAgra said to you, hey, you're the high-priced man in this job. You better get done within your 4 to 6 months. And I want a letter from you every other week, and I want you under budget. I finished in 5.5 months and $8,000 under budget. And I praise the Lord for his blessings to that company in Trenton, Missouri, ConAgra, that packages food for you people to eat. But there is Garth, and Garth told me about this program. And I said, oh yeah, there. And I said, here's Ted Druckenmiller, a youthful 81. I got neuropathy in my legs, and I got a cane back there, but I walked up and I'm still standing. And I asked for 4 seats for Denver. Wow.
All right.
I hope my wife takes them.
You can blog. Like seriously, just cut out the BS. FTBS.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so there are 2 people that I I wanted to share a couple things. One is my dad, and what I wanted him to share. In case you guys didn't know, when I sign people up into Empower, I'm at a point now where I have my assistant. She forwards some emails to a call center that I pay for, okay? And that call center goes through the things on the accountability script. Okay, those of you that can't pay for the outsourcing, that's why you got an accountability partner, right? So you're still outsourcing it. And then once that happens, then they get plugged in, and then my dad makes the personal call, the personal coaching call that I was doing that I don't like to do anymore, okay? Because of my time, I want to be able to enjoy my life. So my dad makes these calls, and he has been doing such a great job at doing this. I wanted him to kind of share with you guys what he's saying and what he's doing with those people. Would you like to know? Yeah! Okay. Now, those of you that have been personally sponsored by me and got a call from my dad, raise your hand. Or you spoke with him. Okay, there's a few of you. So, we got about 5 minutes, I think. Okay.
Put me on the clock.
Okay.
You didn't take the mic from me. All right, we're going to talk about money strategy. Money strategy.
Come on, Dad.
All right. It's interesting. The person who made the most money today talked about upselling within your team. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Well, Tracy, in her wisdom, had me make these calls to start training, but the real purpose is to upgrade the new person from wherever they are to the next step based on the amount of marketing money they have available. Right. Now, since she outsources, and I don't know, do you have that script, the accountability script? Maybe you can make it available. I don't know. Well, anyway, let me tell you some of the things that are wrong. They are asked, did you receive the personal email from Tracy Walker? They're asked, how much are you looking to make in Empower? They're asked, why? They're asked, what kind of budget do you have, monthly budget, for your business? They're asked how much you have right now. They're asked, I'm trying to think of, are you trainable? Will you listen? And will you follow directions? Or are you going to do it the way you intended to do it in the first place? So that's basically it. And what happens with her is that when they call, I give them my cell phone number because I don't want to have to miss the call and have to call that person back and try to explain who I am. So the call from the phone center edifies Tracy Walker's personal assistant. So I have authority. I'm an expert. I'm in Tracy Walker's office. So thank you. I told you I didn't do it. But my job, when that call comes into me, is not to train. My job is to make an appointment. Make an appointment. I need that person in front of their computer because I've got to upsell them. That's right. Make sense? That's right. So I make an appointment. That person may be anywhere in the United States, so I have to find out where the hell they live. Makes sense? I'm in Atlanta. If a person lives on the West Coast, it's kind of hard for me to do a 9 p.m. call. So I'll make that adjustment and I'll work through at a time that's convenient for them. When I set the appointment, I make the call in around that 15-minute period. And the first thing I say, hi, this is John Hill. I'm Tracy Walker's personal assistant, right? All right, I say, hey, do you have a pen and piece of paper? See, they say yes. And I go through, well, listen, I got an email about the questions that you answered from the Tampa office. And you indicated that you got the email from Tracy Walker. Are you on the name? Half the people are not, right? So what happened as this started to develop, I ended up having to train people to get on the knee. 9 out of 10 times it was the person. I think we found one time, only one, that it wasn't. But anyway, we get them on the knee. We talk about the knee because it's the training platform. Brand new people. Most of them come in and say, I've got the blogging platform and I'm gonna make some money Nicole said this the other day. I'm gonna make $10,000 and then I'm gonna get the other products. I can't laugh, right? No, I can't laugh. So we started talking about that. Right? Also, now the question was also asked, how much of a budget do you have? Now, if they say they have $100, you know they're going to get that in a circle, no question about it. Right? If they don't have any money, they're going to get the inner circle. If they've got $500 or $600, well, it depends on that person. I normally won't just take them if they're brand new and try to sell them to Costa Rica because of overwhelm. They're already overwhelmed. They got some emails from Empower. They got some emails from Tracy. Some of them didn't get on the knee because they won't follow instructions. They don't put the code in, right? So I get calls back from them. I'm having problems getting on the knee. I'm having problems getting on the knee. What do I do with the Facebook group? So I found I have to talk about that. We have to go over the knee. We have to go over the Facebook group. The ethics of the Facebook group, positive influence. If you have a problem, technical problem, you can ask it in the Facebook group. If it's about AWeber, goddamn it, go to AWeber. The tree does not grow far from the axe. Now, some people have come in at 1625 because they know about blogging, they've been on the internet. Well, we fly with them. You know, we fly with them. When are you going to get all in? I need to pay. When are you going to have the money? That's a little bit of a bite for most people, you know, so I ask them to borrow the money. I ask. You can't say yes unless I ask. All right? So now, let's jump back to the $25 block, because that's 8 or 9 out of 10, right? When I get them, we start talking about the blog, and I get them through that, right? And then we start to, I say, listen, one of the things that, if you get on the, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, we also have to talk about the midday motivational call. Right. All right, some people know about it, some people have no idea, all right? So I give them the number, even though it's on the name, because if they don't get on the name, I still want them on the call, all right? So we get that going. We talk about the Monday night call. We talk about the Facebook group. We talk about the name. And then I start talking about Dwayne Pyle. Y'all know Dwayne Pyle? Yeah. I started talking about Dwayne Pyle. See, because most people, when they come into this business, they do not have a list. Not at all. So you got to learn how to talk to people. Now, Dwayne Pyle does a whole hour, hour and a half on converting 85% of the people he talks to and commanding them into his business.
And where's that call at? In a circle.
In a circle. That's why I'm talking about it. And they ask me, where am I going to find that? It's in the inner circle. I say, so I want you to listen to that call. They say, well, I don't have it. Well, you got to get the inner circle.
There you go.
All right? You got to get the inner circle. By the way, this month, earlier this month, someone was on the Facebook group and they asked about this thing called a call to action. And when it happened, I paid close attention to that. I think Mark, you answered that question and gave them a very nice call to action. Well, at the back of the Dwayne Pyle call, Dave Wood and Dwayne Pyle go over a call to action. How to use it, when to use it, and gives you a couple of more, all in the inner circle. So I'm building that inner circle. So I asked him, you got to listen to that call, number one. Number two, the second thing is, since your marching instructions are blog once a day, listen to the inner circle. I want you to listen to Justin Berensky. Yeah, Justin. And I say he teaches how to blog 15 $1,500 a week, a day.
Make his blogs worth $1,500.
Yeah. He teaches, now most people have a large array of things to blog about. Some people don't know they do, but once you start tapping into your skills, into your knowledge base, you have a lot to talk about, a lot. If you know, I've heard Shalonda and the Dream Team members talk about, well, if you don't, if you listen to one of the inner circles every day, you can blog about that.
Pretty much.
In reality, there's too much in there for you to blog about. One of you can take a portion and blog about it. But you can't blog about that whole damn call. I want you to go to Justin's call. I want you to listen to him. He teaches you how, if you have a subject matter, how to go to on the internet, find some subject that you are interested in. He teaches you how to cut and paste that, but you must give the author credit. Put it on your blog post. Teaches you how to syndicate that. Start driving people to your I want to say squeeze page, your lead capture page on something in 10, 15 minutes. You find that in the inner circle. So I need you right now to log into Empower. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
I need you to log in, use the username, get in there, and I need you to click on the inner circle. I need you to buy that right away. While you're doing that, I want to talk to you a little bit about what you can expect from the Dream Team. See, because you're your own CEO. Okay? I don't want you calling me again. I'm calling you from my home phone. Because I want a good connection. Now, I don't say it like that. As a matter of fact, people do call me back, especially if they're having a problem. Getting on the knees. Sometimes, if we start talking about taking a trip, like coming to this event, one young lady I spoke with made arrangements and called me and tell me that she made the arrangements. That was Salima. Did she hear? Did she make?
Salima Cannon?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
And anyway, once we talk about that, I have to talk about what happens if you bring somebody into the group. We don't want you to stop and start training them about something you don't know nothing about. Right. So we want you to bring them in and plug them into the team and let the team work with that. All right? Very important, because a thing that bothers me about is this thing called overwhelm. Young people, young people get overwhelmed. And when they get overwhelmed, they don't do anything. Right? So then I close that time. Live once a day. Listen to one inner circle every day. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Straight ahead. And if you have any problems, put it on the Facebook group. That's basically what happens.
When you're on the phone, how long does your call usually go?
It depends on the person. If they're knowledgeable about something, if they're brand new, it's the longest call. It's the longest call. I also ask them if they have any questions before I hang up. And usually they don't, but sometimes they do. But on average, the person who has no knowledge, a brand new person, sometimes 30 to 40 minutes. If it's a person who's knowledgeable, and I can tell by the answers they give me, a little less. A little less. There was something I wanted to say. Trying to think of what is in my mind. I'm kind of old.
If you think about it, just let us know. But this is what Empower will call a new member coaching call. Right? You see it in your emails and it says, hey, your new person signed up. If I were you, or I could give them a new member coaching call. Right? But he told you 30, 45 minutes. Right? I can't, if I'm signing up 2 to 3 to 4, maybe sometimes, 8 is my most people a day, 8 times 40 minutes? No, think big, of course. I can't, that's not going to happen for you either. You're going to have to outsource that. Right? So you learn what you want done, and then you have someone that can take care of it for you because you got to do other stuff. Right? So my dad loves to do it. Now, I was going to pay him to do it, and then he goes, no, Trace, don't pay me because I'm learning so much. Right? I wasn't going to treat him any different because he was my dad. Right? But he volunteered to do it. So I appreciate that. The last person from the Wisdom Keepers is Patrick. All right. What do we want Patrick to talk about? Do we know exactly? I can't remember what we wanted Patrick to say. Patrick.
I didn't know I was doing it.
I know, you surprised you. But Patrick was sponsored by, no, let's see. Your sponsor.
Carlton.
No, not Carlton.
Chad.
Ched, okay. And then Carlton sponsored Ched. Okay, so 2 people removed from Carlton. I sponsored Carlton, so you're 3 people removed from me. All right. And you've been in the business for a while, and for a little while you were, I'll let you tell your story, but you got in the business and you weren't having the results right away, right?
In Empower or?
In Empower. In Empower.
In Empower, yeah. I started in August last year. The sponsor I had created this massive training site with all kinds of stuff. He was an internet marketer. And pretty much everybody other than me got totally bogged down. And I got bogged down too. And no offense, this guy is a good internet marketer. He may not have been a great Empower network marketer. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry. Anyway, there was this fella sponsored a number of people. Nobody made any progress except for one, and I was fortunate to be the one. And even I got bogged down for a while. We were writing these massive, long, kind of Dagan Smith style emails. And I don't know about you. I wasn't the fastest writer then. I'm pretty fast now, but I don't like writing massive, long emails like that anyway. And it was just like taking 2-3 weeks to kind of think of what's the story of your life, you know? And it just wasn't for me. I finally said, yeah, to heck with that. Cut and paste some other people's emails for a while, and then I tuned them up later. And anyway, what happened is, so that kind of bogged me down for a while. I really got started around October, really. And I just kind of did all the stuff you're supposed to do, kind of, maybe, but not as much, because I do work for myself and I have another business, and so I don't have full time for Empower Network, but I'm getting more and more time for Empower Network because, frankly, I want it. The other business is a search engine optimization business. Hey, 59-year-old guy knows search engine optimization. But I'm really sick to death of search engine optimization. As you know, Google changes things every so often, and guess who your clients call when they do that? So anyway, the end result is I'm doing less and less of the SEO. I recognize that over there. I'm doing less and less of the SEO. I still have recurring clients, and most of them I've chosen to keep. And the ones that are just too much hassle, I've just chosen to not keep. And Empower Network, my income is building and building and building. And you know, I'll gradually not have any search engine optimization clients, I would think, in the near future. I went all in last week. I was a little slower at that than I wanted to be, but I did it. And so I'm happy I did it. I know one of my team is going to go all in next week, so and hopefully I can get a few others over the next little while. But you know what, I got to say, this has been a life changer in a number of ways. I've had a bit of a struggle for about 10 years, and I don't get into this too much. But I was in the World Trade Center when it was hit, and I didn't work there. I happened to just be there on that wonderful day, and the company I worked for, I was obviously blessed to survive. So this week has also been a bit of an interesting week too. But anyway, the company that I worked for at the time, a lot of our clients were in the World Trade Center, and we sold software. And so our clients, in a lot of cases, weren't there. And unfortunately, about 4 weeks after that, then I also lost my job because our clients weren't there. If you sell software, you don't sell it to them a second time. If you sell hardware and it's all fine, you do. But all of a sudden, they were very busy doing lots of other things for about a year. So with no malice towards the company, they ended up getting rid of a lot of people because they were not going to be bringing in business for them. But I went through a bit of a struggle with that for a couple of years. Struggle emotionally just about the World Trade Center for a while, and a struggle kind of in a bitter way about having suffered a very, when you're in your 50s, losing a job is a tough thing. But a struggle to, I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional about this because I've never spoken about this in a group. But a struggle, a little bit bitterness towards, an economic system that throws you aside after you've given everything to it. For no, and you're kind of cast out of it through, in this case, no fault of my own, right? And I was running sales for the East Coast of that organization, so it was a fairly significant job. But I struggled for a number of years after that, to be honest, because I kind of was bitter about things, and I would end up with another job, but I never put my soul into it. I never put my heart into it. I never really felt committed at it. And because of that, I never really did that well, and because of that, I'd never been fired until I was about 50 years old in my entire life. And then I was fired about 5 times in about 8 years. And it was because of, and it was not because of them, it was because of me. I just didn't want to do it anymore, to tell you the truth. I really didn't want to do it, but I was tied to a paycheck. I was pulled to a paycheck, and unfortunately that's economic reality unless you build your own freedom. I gradually built my own business a few years ago, internet marketing, search engine optimization, and that's gone okay. But I'm seeing this whole thing lifted, this whole feeling of freedom, this whole feeling of empowerment. And I know it's a word, but it's a real feeling. I'm excited for myself and my wife, but I'm excited for 200, 300 people in this room too. Because you don't have to wait till you're 59 years old to discover. 82 or 50s or 60s. It's wonderful. I mean, and I honestly, I'm so enthusiastic. I've been trying to call my wife. For some reason, I've been calling home about every other hour, and I'm not getting a hold of her. And I keep on wanting to call her and tell her how excited I am. But I've been leaving messages. I don't know what she's up to. But anyway. But my wife will be with me at the next one.
To see our wisdom keepers with shirts on that say FTBS.
That's, what is it? What does it stand for?
The blogging system.
I actually have to look it up.
We'll tell you in private.
I know.
Thank you guys so much. Please keep spearheading. You know what? One last thing, real quick. I really want it. I'm like, please, can I tell you a story? It's not even that long of a story. What I didn't get a chance to do was ask them how many of them are all in. But what's your name? Rosemary. So Rosemary says just right now that she said what you said about age is really true. She said, what did you say?
I just said that I have so much faith in this company that I dipped into my retirement fund to go all in.
There's no other options out there, guys. That's right. Right? We can't depend on something that doesn't even exist to take care of us. It's our responsibility to do it. So I commend you, Rosemary, and I know that Dave and Dave understand that. I understand that. I believe the Dream Team understands that. And we want to help you make sure that you build that retirement 10 times over. So we're doing okay. I want to remind everyone that once this last part is done, we're going to do our team picture. So don't skate away too fast, and then everybody can go hang out at the party. But what I want to do now is give you guys what we promised to give you. If you were on the calls and you heard us kind of making sure that we got you here to Chicago, we talked about this blueprint. How many of you guys remember us talking about that? Right? And essentially, if you were going to build a building, if you were an architect or a contractor or anything to do with taking a piece of land that has nothing on it and then ending up with something on it, do you think you could do it without a blueprint?
No. Never.
How many of us are living our lives without a blueprint? And then we're trying to figure out why things aren't working. Well, unfortunately, none of us, when we were born, our parents didn't have a here's how you teach your kids to live life book. Right? So we go about it the best way that we can, and or we do what we were taught to do. For some of us, that's good. For some of us, not so good. Right? And inadvertently, we can steer our families in the direction that we don't really want them to go, but when you don't know any better, you can't possibly do anything more than what you know. All right? So we believe it's very important that there is a blueprint to what you are doing, right? Now, the other side of having the blueprint is that if you were the contractor that's looking at the blueprint, you can't do it the way you want to do it. Right? You can't decide that a beam shouldn't go right here because you don't feel like it today, and you're going to put the beam over here. Right? You don't have that luxury and that flexibility to do it because it's built to the specifications for the durability of that building, of that structure, right? Well, in your life and in your business, what we're going to request is that you do the same thing. Don't change things at your leisure because you feel like you can do it better. You will compromise the foundation of your structure. And unless you're into building things over and over and over and over again, which I'm not, because that wastes time, that's ineffective to do that, then just keep it the way it is. Do you guys actually think and possibly believe that we want you to win?
Yes.
We get nothing out of teaching you to go the wrong way, right? And so what we're asking is that you have a little bit of trust in what we've learned along the way. We've done a lot of things wrong, but we figured out how to do a couple things right. And those couple things that we do right, we just do those things over and over and over and over. And we want to give you those things, and we ask you to bring them into your heart, bring them into your soul, bring them into your spirit and into your mind, and just continue to work with them until they become habitual for you. We understand everything isn't going to come just like that, right? But neither was walking for you. Right? Neither was walking. Those of you that have children, if the first time if you had a child, you didn't know exactly what it was going to feel like to be a parent until you were. And then you had to go through it, right? And it's the same thing here. You're going to have to learn some things, but the beautiful thing is we've kind of done a lot of the hard work for you, and all we really want you to do is to follow the leader, right? We probably need a shirt that says that. Yeah. Follow the leader. Yeah. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. So Nicole Cooper is definitely the leader that we need to follow, right? She's definitely the leader that we need to follow. In so many ways, but we're such alike in a lot of ways too. But she is like
on fire.
Like she can break stuff down and quantify it. And like she said on stage, she knew what she was going to need if she wanted to make $1.2 million, what that was by the hour, the minute, or something. Right? You know, I don't go that far with stuff. I don't even know if I can before like trying to kill myself. But she does, and that's a great asset that we have in our group because we need that. And she's broken down some things and created this blueprint that I promised you, if you just follow it and trust it, and it becomes just your ritual in terms of getting things done, that you'll find that it won't be so hard. You'll get things done a lot faster. You'll get them done more effectively in the short time that you're doing them, which in turn frees up your time so you can go live your life and have fun while you're doing it. Okay? So I'd like to now bring out Nicole Cooper. The coveted, I will say coveted.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm bless all Dream Team members right now.
Good.
The coveted blueprint that I want you to take into your hearts, into your businesses, and make work for you.
Call it the $1 million business.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, guys. I want to share with you guys something that we actually did a training on a couple of weeks ago that I'm going to make sure that you guys who attended get access to, called Work Smart and Not Hard. How many of you want to work smart and not hard? Now, just so that you don't get tired, I need your brain to be in full focus. Feel free to stand up for a second, stretch, do something, because you need to be in full tune. Okay? Stretch. Move your neck around a little bit. Get some blood flowing and circulation in your body. All right. Now let's have a seat. Let's get down to business. Because what we're going to do is share something with you guys. And let me just say something. Let me say this, because I know you guys realize what you have. But we can't tell you how many people are begging and scheming to get access to the coveted things that we offer our team. So this is really pivotal. Now, what I'm going to share with you guys, I believe that everything comes with a plan. You have to have a plan. I think it was Rick yesterday. He said the difference between a dream and a goal is a plan and a deadline, right? And he said that. I said, well, don't be surprised if I steal it. So it's stolen. Thank you. The difference, and stand up so they can see who you are, because they'll be talking to you. You guys heard his story about what he did to get here, and that's what inspired that. But he said the difference between a dream and a goal is a deadline. And what else? A plan. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through that with you guys. Now, this is called the 6-step action plan. And the reason why I learned how to do this, when I was in real estate, I had just gotten started. I wanted to we always, well, most of us, want to be the best at what we do, right? And so what I did, I got this book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Yeah. And what that book did is it taught you how to document how much you want to earn and what you needed to do to get there. I went from making, I think, $35,000 the previous year to $150-something thousand the following year because I executed that plan. And that was back in 2004. And I've done this practically with any business that I've been in. So I'm sharing with you guys exactly how this works. So, okay, let's get on into the 6-step action plan. Now, the first step, guys, this is all about you reaching your goals. You all have financial goals, right? And we're talking about realistic stuff, not the $25 blogging person who wants to make $10,000. Okay? But the first thing that you want to do is actually ask yourself, how much money do you really want to make? Okay? How much money do you really want to make? Now, guys, understand that your business comes with progression. Okay? And it also comes with a learning curve. And so there are some things that you want to be practical about in the beginning. And people have different ways of approaching this, but I had somebody ask me the other day, I think it was Katie. She said, Nicole, what would you tell someone who's just getting started about what goal they should set for earning an income? I said, well, the first goal should be to get your money back. Whatever you invested in your business, you want to be reimbursed and go into profit mode. Like Chris Harrell. He went all in today. Somebody on his team turned around and went all in too. So he immediately got reimbursed. So your first goal, you should be considering how much you invested and to get your money back. But what you want to do is sit down and actually be clear on what you want and document this. Write it out. The second thing that you want to do is ask yourself, what do you need to do to make that money? Okay? The way that I do it is I break down, like I go in, every year I spend my whole December planning my next year. I break it down by the whole year of the things that I want to accomplish. Then I break it down on the quarters when I'm going to pursue it. Then I break it down into the months where I'm going to put my energy into it, into the weeks. And then every day I work towards it. And that has been very beneficial because I get a heck of a lot of stuff accomplished that way. And so what you want to do is you sit down and you think about what does it take to make that money. So I always say, if you know you want to make, a lot of us say 6 figures. What is 6 figures? Is it 100 grand? Is it 105 grand? You know? And some of you just want to replace your salary. What is your salary? Be honest with yourself. You want to make $50,000 a month. You probably never made $2,500 a month before. So be very practical about that. When you look at how much you want to make, how much do you need to make it? You divide that up by the 12 months, and what does that look like? Then you start getting practical about the products that you need to have it. If you know you want to make $5,000 a month and you only had a blogging platform, how many signups do you have to get at the $25 level? Who's good mathematicians in here? 200. Tracy, are you signing up 200 people a month?
No.
I think the only person doing that is Mac. I mean, Mac probably, and Vic. Even Lawrence Tam is doing 40 people a month. 1 to 1.5 people a day, right? So you guys want to look at it and say, okay, if I want to go ahead and make $5,000 a month, what would be the most feasible way to get that money back? What products do I need?
Get all in.
Take one sale, right? So you want to look at it and see what does it take to make that money. And what you want to consider now is you break down, you know, we basically have a simple formula. 2 signups a day can get you to what? 30 grand. So that means 1 sign up a day to get you to what? 15. Now this is a progression over time. It might take 90 days to do that. But what you want to do now is you identify how much you want to make, what products you need to have so that you can make it faster. And then now you start thinking about 3 things: marketing, leads, and sales. Okay? Marketing, leads, and sales. A lot of people say, well, I blog every day. Well, did you market today? Did you promote that blog? Have you done anything to drive leads to your site? Guys, the goal for marketing is to generate leads, and leads generate what? Sales. So that's the only 3 things that are going to get you to the money. Okay? So if you know you say you want to make, what, if 1 sign up a day, that's 30 signups, get you to 15K, you want to make, what's that, 30 days? So 10 signups can get you to 5K, right? A month? However that formula works out. This is a rough draft, but I'm just guesstimating. But you start thinking about, okay, if I want to get, and our formula is 2 signups a day. So you don't want to start working with changing the formula up. You set the goal for that. You set the goal to get 2 signups a day. You just press for it. 2 signups a day. But now that you know you want to get 2 signups a day, you think about the different marketing strategies that you're going to implement to get those signups. Because your goal, guys, when you blog, everything you do is to create a call to action. And that's what? Click below. Everything you do is to get people on your list. Now we have a little formula here. You want to build that list up because those leads are, when you get people on your list, that's where your money is. So every single day you should be focusing on getting X amount of leads on your list, right? For most of you, you're new, so I put something that is conservative, but 20 new leads a day can help get you to 1 sign up. It can be between 10 to 20 new leads a day. Okay, how many leads a day can get you to 1 sign up? 10 to 20. Okay? That means 20 to 40 new leads a day can get you 2 signups. Guys, y'all know how many leads I get a day? I average between 11 to 25 leads a day. And I did 42 grand last month. And I only market on Facebook and YouTube. So it ain't deep. It ain't deep. And if you see my videos, I'm ranting for 20 minutes about nothing. About how much I hate Memphis. Austin, here I come. So I'm sharing this with you guys because you need to set the goal to get 20 to 40 new leads on your list a day. That's going to help to get you to the signups. Are y'all with me? Yeah. Yes. Okay? Now, once you set that goal to get 20 to 40 new leads a day, the next thing you want to do is ask yourself, how are you going to get these leads? Now, that's marketing strategy. What marketing strategy are you going to implement and focus on? Guys, listen, we have a lot of training, okay? There's a lot of good information back there. But the thing that you want to do is pick 2 strategies that you focus and master everything about them. I know Facebook and I know YouTube. I know video marketing. So what I'm doing now is learning everything about those 2 things. I'm learning Facebook PPC, how to use image engagement on your Facebook page. When you put photos, people respond better. I'm learning about everything about Facebook and everything about YouTube. YouTube SEO, YouTube PPC, YouTube syndication. You know, I'm learning about all those things. So what you want to do is pick 2 marketing strategies and master the heck out of them. So you basically select them, and when you go back in those trainings in the 15K, you look for the trainings that are associated with your marketing strategy. You document what you learned, and then the next thing that you're going to do once you identify that marketing strategy is you put a checklist together. Okay? You put a checklist together. That's step number 5. Oh, four was how are you going to get those leads? I'm sorry. So let me back up. Number 1 was how much money do you want to make? Step number 2 is what do you need to make it? And that was focusing on 3 things, which was marketing, leads, and sales. The third thing was how many leads per day do you need to make the money you want? And I told you you basically need 10 to 20 new leads to get 1 sign up. And between 20 to 40 new leads to get 2 sign-ups a day. Y'all with me?
Yes.
That's weak.
Yes.
We talking about money.
Yes.
Y'all better wake up. Literally. Because there's a lot of money to be made in this business, and it ain't nothing like looking and watching everybody pass you by at each event, and they got checks. You trying to figure out, what am I doing wrong? Well, you need a blueprint. Seriously, you need to have a proactive plan that when you're at home and not at these events and not pumped up and not talking to people about them and you staring at that computer, you know what in the heck you need to do for that day to get to the money. Okay? So step number 3 was how many leads per day. Step number 4 was how are you going to get those leads. And it was between, you have your free strategies. On step number 4, you have your free strategies and your paid strategies. Okay, every day you should be incorporating your free strategies because paid strategies are usually on automation. All right? So you have your free is like your blog, your video, articles, podcasts, whatever you want to do. Your paid is the Facebook PPC, sponsored ads, solo ads, and stuff like that. Okay? Step number 5 is put a checklist together. I live my life on checklists because I got 2 babies and ADD. So combine the 2. And it's a scattergram, right? So in order for me to get what I need to get done for the day, and Tracy actually taught me this, was to have a daily method of operation, right? So what that means is you need to know what needs to be done for you to complete your income producing activities for the day. When you blog, you know that you gotta have your blog post together. If you're gonna do your keyword research, whatever you're gonna do, then you know you're gonna post it, then you know you're gonna syndicate it, you're gonna email it and broadcast it to your list, you're gonna post it on Facebook. You see how many different steps there are in each marketing activity, right?
Right.
You checklist that. Because guys, when you have a checklist and you check stuff off, how do you feel?
Great.
You feel productive. And see, when you don't have anything that's guiding you, you find yourself staring at the computer and hanging out in the Facebook group for 5 hours, and then you ask yourself, why I ain't made no money? So having a checklist is going to help you to have a focused daily process. So you document every single step in that process, y'all, because it's going to help you to understand what you need to do.
Right.
Okay? And then you do it every day. You do it every day. The 6th step, this is something, especially if you're blogging, one of the things that I've done now, guys, because we're talking about leverage. And you are not going to build wealth exchanging time for money. It's just not going to happen. So I have an outsourcing team of I have about 25 people I can tap into whenever I need anything done. So what I do now to build my business is I just recently decided to launch a podcast. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to delegate every process of my marketing. And so I hired transcriptions, a transcription team. I hired a writer. I hired a project manager. I hired a graphic design team, and I have a virtual assistant. Okay, so I invest a lot of my money back into my business. Why? Because I want time freedom. I don't need to make a lot of money spending 40 hours a day to make it. Okay, and they're actually relatively cheap. Some of them I pay $4 an hour. So I'll do a podcast which I'm gonna promote on iTunes and SoundCloud. When I do that podcast, I get it to my transcriber. He transcribes it. He then, my project manager, gets it from him, gets it to my writer. My writer goes ahead and rewrites the content 5 different ways. She does blog posts, articles. She puts it in a PowerPoint slide so I can start doing SlideShare marketing. She then does Facebook posts for me and tweets out of that one podcast. She'll do it's like 10 or 15 different pieces of content that I get from her. And I do 3 podcasts a week so that content can be spread out. But all I have to do every single week now is do my podcast. Then once my writer writes the content, she gets it to my transcriber who posts all the content everywhere it needs to go. He'll put it on my blog, he'll do the keyword research, he'll put the keywords in there, and he just puts it up in draft for me to read it to make sure it's ready to press send. The graphic design team, if there's graphics that need to be done, they do it. And then my project manager deals with all of them, so I don't have to micromanage the process. And my VA, she comes in and does some other things that I need to do. But this is why I have a blueprint. Because now, the 6th step is having a content calendar. Knowing what you're gonna talk about. See, when you are struggling with blogging, it's because you trying to wake up in the morning, which I did, and said, all right, what I'm gonna talk about today, how I feel. How I feel today. I don't feel like doing nothing. Well, you ain't gonna do nothing. And a critical thing about having a calendar is it holds you accountable, a content calendar. And now that I have these deadlines for the content that I want to produce every week, I just basically take topics. I have entrepreneurship, internet marketing, personal development, social media marketing, some other stuff. But I have like 5 main topics that I build off of with my content. So I might do a series that's all relative on how to start your own business online and what you need. And we'll talk about, affiliate marketing, internet marketing, and different things. But I basically sit down for the month and identify what I'm going to talk about each week. And usually they all kind of can join together. Because if you have a topic on how to make money blogging, it might be too much information to put into one blog. So you might need to break it up into 3 pieces. Now you got 3 pieces of content. You see what I'm saying? Oh, and I forgot to say, when I'm doing my podcast, I record myself, so now I can have a video too. So you see how you're repurposing that content? It's one piece of content going like 15 different ways. And it works. Because what runs the search engines? Content. Content is king. Content is where your money is. How did Dave Wood get to where he is? We had a $4 million check. Blogging, right? So the 6th thing you want to do is put your content calendar together. What I'm going to do, guys, I know this is a lot of information, and I know it's at the end of the day when you guys have already received a lot of it. We actually put a blueprint together, which is what I'm reading off of, so we will make sure that in the Facebook group that we have, that we're going to post it there, and I'm going to give you guys the link to the video training that I did called Work Smart, Not Hard. And it's going to... And on the Ning, I'm sorry. Yeah, because the Facebook group's not reliable. So we'll put it on the Ning, where it's going to be a bonus training for you guys to access. It's going to walk you through each and every part of this process. Okay? So I just want it real quick because Adrian was going to share how this has been beneficial to him. Adrian, so I wanted to bring you up real quick because he'll just share what he's done with it and how it's helped him. Because Adrian been a beast in sign-ups lately.
Yeah, buddy.
Basically, guys, all I do is just follow the Inner Circle training. There's an Inner Circle audio from Dave when Dave started back in March, I think it was last year, called How to Make $5,000 per Week. If you guys want to know how to make an extra $100, $500 every time you call a new member, listen to that audio.
Time people don't waste no time. All right, so we're pretty much done here for the evening. Okay, you guys can put up your pens and your pads and can kind of let your hair down because we're going to have some fun. One last reminder that we're getting ready to do the team picture, right? So we're going to need to kind of congregate and make that happen. But really, really, really quick, how many of you guys have a Dream Team jacket? That's a lot of people. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna build. I mean, now in the back in our Ning, we have a tab that says Dream Team Store. You guys know that, right? On Dream Team Store, you can buy like this right here, the shirt, jogging pants, sweaters, whatever. Even maternity shirts, right? All that stuff is there. So if you get a chance, go to the Dream Team. The bag I have, all that stuff, notepads, and laptop covers, and everything that has our logo on it, you're more than free to buy it at your own leisure, whatever you want to do there. But what we want to make sure that we do for our presence as a team, as an ongoing thing, is we've decided that the jacket is going to be our signature item. Right? The jacket is our signature item. We want to make sure that everyone continues to, you get together, and we'll go into more, but we want to make sure that you have a jacket at some point, okay? And the way that we're going to keep this jacket unique is that we decided that what we would do is that for each event, we would have, Tommy, we need you to sit down.
Oh, my fault. Sorry, ADD.
Edit.
So what we decided we wanted to do was to keep the jackets unique. For each event, we have patches made with the logo of that event, right? So this is the Get Money logo. You can just iron these on, right? You can iron these patches on, so you don't have to stitch them and all this. And we want to get these to you first, right? It's going to take some time, but we have the stuff for Don't Be a Wussy, for those that were at Don't Be a Wussy event. If you're at Fight the Forces of Evil, we got a patch for that. If you're at Release Her and a Badass, we got a patch for that. Yeah. And the goal would be to fill up your jackets with as many patches as you can.
Look at the other side.
Oh, the other side.
Jacket.
Okay, so we want to build up our jackets, right? Where your jacket is so full of patches, your income should match your, match what your jacket got, right? And that'll match your patch. Oh, that's a nice little thing. Match your patch. So we're gonna go ahead and. There are some people that still need jackets, right? If you order a jacket and you have not received your jacket, we need you to get your jacket. How many people need the jackets? That order. That we have a physical jacket here for you. Okay, that's not a lot of people.
Okay.
Where are they?
They're right here. Outside.
Outside here. Okay. So when we get ready to go out for the team picture, let's have those jackets up there so